Okay, so what effect, if any, has trauma had in my life? Well, I am certainly not uncomfortable in answering that question. It's quite obvious that I'm pretty well open um, about my stuff, um, my current struggles, past struggles, especially with substances um, and mental health. Um, I think when we think about trauma, we usually, at least in the field, we usually look at our early childhood or childhood in general trauma because that's where a lot of our stuff comes from. But trauma can happen at any age, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be just childhood. Um, a lot of people in childhood have severe neglect and severe abuse, poverty, and seeing their parents go through substance addictions and parents in and out of jail or domestic violence or you know all sorts of stuff. Um, my childhood it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. We was a working class family, you know. So we wasn't extremely poor. It wasn't. We didn't become financially independent until I was in late middle school. Um, because of my father's disability with the VA, he's a disabled veteran. Um, and seeing the health progression there as a child was extremely traumatic. Um, seeing my father, whom I knew as a healthy and strong man, worked hard every day um, to having to use crutches and a walker and eventually a wheelchair, had a profound effect on me and my where I'm at now and why I've chosen what I've chosen to do. Um, there really wasn't any major physical abuse. My mom had some issues. Um, there was a few times there it may have got a little bit too physical, and there was some definitely emotional abuse on my mom from my mom. That still kind of occurs to this day. Um, she's gotten a lot better, but still, it's a thing, right? So, but my older sister, has an intellectual disability, um, and that was extremely traumatic because other people my age, my friends, they didn't have a sibling with a pretty severe mental intellectual handicap, I guess at that time you could say. Um, so that was pretty traumatic as a child, um, having my older sister like that. Then my parents had an open marriage. Um, there was some fighting there, and uh, eventually became kind of a love triangle, I guess. And my younger brother was a product of my mom's side of the open marriage. He was born with cleft lip, cleft palate. My parents like separated during all this, and seeing my mom have all kinds of different friendships. She would call them pen pals or whatever, but they were guys that she was, seeing or whatever. Just come and go all the time. You know, they would take me out to to lunch or something. Try to get on my good side, I guess. And um, at the time, I thought something was weird, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. But it was a result of my parents' open marriage. And, um, when my brother was born, of course, he had the cleft lip. He had all kinds of physical health problems, along with dealing with my parents, you know, betrayals and their separation and all that good stuff. Um, and along with my older sister's intellectual disability, I was the middle child. So I got, looked over quite a lot. So I grew up feeling quite lonely. and having to learn how to take care of myself a lot, um, and lean on my own understandings, because my parents are just so busy dealing with their own stuff and my siblings. So I kind of got looked over, and that was traumatic. All this has led to some of the struggles that I still deal with, and then as a late teens, early 20s, throughout my mid 20s, and even up until very recently, I've had some severe traumatic relationships, intimate relationships that I just, wow. I mean, those were really rough. With betrayals and cheating and physical and emotional abuse on both sides, and lying and just severe abuse. It was severe toxic relationships. Um, I just can't really seem to break free from, although I am trying hard, and that just further compounded my trauma from the past, and further just compounded my substances, um, and then it just kind of spiraled and snowballed from there, right? So it just continued to get worse, and then I finally had just another major relationship trauma. Earlier this year, I was working, at a bar, and this was, you know, drinking a lot, partying a lot, and I just finally said enough's enough. I'm tired of all the trauma. I'm tired of all the terrible relationships. I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm, I'm, I'm taking this year. I decided to try to get out of all that, try to become better. And, I'm been dealing with a physical health issue for a few years now. That's been traumatic as well, and the emotional aspect makes the physical symptoms worse. And it's just a vicious cycle over and over and over again. The whole everything. So I'm trying to break free from it all. And that's why I decided to take this year while working in this program to try to become something completely different from what I have been throughout my late teens and all of my 20s. And I'm 30 now, so that's why I'm really trying to break free from all of this pain and all of this trauma and substance abuse and stuff. So I've come a long way in the last 6 months. I've had a couple little issues. And currently on the upswing from another little upset that I just recently had, just this week. Um, and I hope to be something even completely more different by the time we finish this program. Um, this class and the instructors in general, and the classmates, everything is just it's great. It's really helping a lot. Um, I hope to use what I learn, and I hope that I can heal myself physically, emotionally, and become something completely different from all of my traumas and my substance stuff and use that to help others in the future. And that's my goal. That's why I'm doing this. That's what I want to do. So we'll see what happens.